Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am Akshita and you must know me from Art Monga. So thank you for tuning in, and in today's video I'm gonna do something really fun. So as you see here, this little cat here is known as Rani by all of us in the town, and today I'm gonna be doing a painting of Rani. I'm gonna be talking through the process of this painting and showing you what and how a painter thinks and how the thought process works, what kind of materials I use. And I chose this subject because she's a very dear little cat of the town, and I thought I would paint her at some point. So here it is. I hope you enjoy, and let's get started. So here I have set up my canvas, taped it to a piece of board, and I have put an imprimatura on it. What is imprimatura? It's this wash of transparent red oxide and raw umber. Okay, why I use this is because I like the warmth in the background and it gives me a nice and neutral tone to start with. I am starting by doing the block-in, which is just with transparent red oxide. This color is excellent because this is very transparent, as the name suggests, and it helps us to kind of get a nice, like, warm sort of block-in. So I'm going to continue doing this while I explain a little bit about what exactly my thought is in this process. So I'm doing something known as enveloping. Okay, what is that? It's creating a sort of envelope of my drawing, nothing too complicated, using very straight lines and thinking about diagonals and straight lines. That's my thought process, and usually just keeping it super simple at this stage. Okay, we don't want to overcomplicate it. We're not thinking about eyes or nose or mouth or anything of that sort in this moment. I'm using very simple shapes to define the face of the cat, the body of the cat, the ears, triangles. So breaking everything down into simple shapes at this stage is one of the best things that you can do as an artist. Right here I am starting to think about the eyes, the plane of the eyes. So drawing a horizontal straight line in order to connect both the eyes and connect it to the top of the head. Having a basic understanding of anatomy is super helpful in this stage. Mostly I end up using the simplest and the most efficient method of blocking in a face or a portrait. It can be any kind of portrait of an animal or of a human, and I use the Loomis method of drawing at this stage. You'll notice that we haven't started coloring yet or filling in because we are still at the drawing stage, and this is a very important stage to be at. I would spend a minimum of 20 minutes on this stage, because once your drawing is in place, your painting will flow much more simply and you are not going to worry about proportions. You're not going to worry about whether the eye is in the right place or not. So making sure that you spend enough time at this stage. You can also do this with a charcoal stick if that helps you, if that feels much more easy to control. But I chose to go straight in with paint because of, firstly, experience, and secondly, it just gives me this nice warmth that I really love. Alright, here things start to get really interesting. Alright, so we are now switching to a bigger brush, a flat big brush, And why we are doing this is because it helps us to cover a larger area. I'm using a simple mix of linseed oil, little bit of paint thinner, and Van Dyke brown, which is a really excellent color because it's not black, but it's still very, very dark. Like the value is super dark, but it still has a beautiful brown undertone to it. And yeah, I'm basically just using Van Dyke brown at this stage to cover the biggest planes, the largest areas of my painting. So this helps me to be really simple, to be really straightforward, to not think about all of those little variations going on in the painting, because there are so many. Once you start to get into the details, you can get lost, especially in this case there's fur, so there's like a lot of tiny details which we really don't want to focus on at this point. So I'm just covering big areas of mass or volume, let's say. And this is one huge trick that painters use. So this is a huge giveaway on how to think like a painter. All right, let's continue and see where this takes us. Okay, so another huge aspect of painting is separating your darks and your lights. Okay, since we're using a wet medium, it's very easy for us to add paint and to remove paint from the canvas. As much as adding is a power for you, taking paint off the canvas also gives you information on what your subject is experiencing in that moment in terms of light and shadow. Okay, what I'm doing right now is I'm using a simple small round headed brush. It's probably size 4, and what I'm doing is I am marking out the lights that I see in the painting. So essentially I'm erasing the paint that I put on the canvas with the help of this brush. And this is another way that painters think, because this is very different from when you are drawing. It's not like you create the structure and then you add the shadow and then you know your lights are already there. This is a very organic, painterly way of thinking, and this not only helps you to be much more efficient in separating your lights and darks, but gives it that very organic and beautiful feel, maybe like Sargent's, and all of the big painters in the history of art have at some point in their careers sought after this sort of painting, because this allows you so much freedom, this allows you so much play, that it's what every artist, every painter dreams to achieve, and it's not that difficult, because if you realize that oil painting at some point is just manipulating the medium to do what you want it to do, and if you keep it simple, then you're gonna achieve some really good results. And this I have learned through a lot of trial and error, because I think I tried to overcomplicate it in my previous works. But then, at some point, life starts to make sense, your mind starts to evolve, your work starts to evolve, and you somehow come slowly to this stage where this sort of painting of laying in the big masses and then taking it out and then the push and pull starts to feel much more natural, starts to feel much more enjoyable as a process, as opposed to having a drawing and then filling it in, kind of like a drawing book for children. So I would say that at some point, whenever you feel confident, give this a try. Doesn't matter if it doesn't look great. I mean, I've gone through series and series and series of paintings that just don't look the best, and that's fine. And it's completely okay. I'm not sure how this one is going to turn out, but it's the process. I know that thousands of people have already said this, but it really, really, at the end of the day, is that the process is extremely enjoyable, and that it brings me joy in my heart. It brings me freedom. So that's why I do this, and the reason that I share it is because I know that many people want to be able to paint, and they look at paintings perhaps from old masters and think of how did they do that, how did that happen. But persistence and curiosity are definitely going to bring you there. They helped me a lot. I'm still in the process of learning so much. I don't think that's going to ever end. But I think that keeping an open mind and allowing yourself to be super forgiving to yourself, and also the fact that you need to be able to accept that some things are just not going to be as great as they were in your head, and some things are probably going to surprise you. So keep an open mind. Allow yourself the experience of painting, allow yourself to interact with this medium, because people used it to depict, to tell stories, to talk about happenings in their life. And the reason that they chose this medium is because it was in some way connected to the earth, to the nature. It comes from there. And to use paint in order to show a story, to tell something about life, is one of the most magical things that can happen as an artist. Because imagine your paintbrush is a wand. Like literally, your paintbrush is a wand, and you are the magician, you are the witch, you are the wizard. Because, I mean, whenever I think of Harry Potter, I feel like, okay, I can relate to that. Because to turn a blank piece of canvas into something that looks like it's breathing, something that has eyes, something that has emotion, that is magic, that is alchemy, that is nature talking through you. And I think if you allow it to happen, it will surprise you in so many beautiful ways. So I think that creating that space for you, allowing this sense of painting to take over, it's a very beautiful journey, and having experienced it myself and constantly experiencing it almost on a daily basis, I really feel like it would help people to do this. And that's why I want to make these videos. That's why I want to be more available. I want to talk. I want to be able to express what I have thought and been through in all of this process. A lot of my thought process has also been guided by some of the really good mentors that I have had in my life, and I would really like to thank them for that. So having a good mentor, having a good person who has figured it out already, will obviously make your process much more enjoyable, much more guided. And to go to to go through this path with guidance is one of the biggest gifts that an artist can have, because many artists are out there trying to figure it out themselves. So I know I went on a little bit of a rant here, but I just feel so strongly about this that I don't want to only talk about technique, or I don't want to only focus on how you can get the biggest or the better or the prettiest painting possible. I want to talk about the entirety of being an artist, the entirety of what goes behind uh, taking this journey, what goes behind choosing this path. And I hope that through my videos, I can help you, I can share this information, we can have talks. And if you have things to share, I'm really, really happy to listen to that and like have discussions. So yeah, I really hope that this video is helping you in forming that sort of vision that many artists are striving for. I'm here trying to put it all out there in the screen in front of you so that you see what is actually happening, because I don't want to gatekeep. I don't want to be one of those people who are, like, oh my god, so secretive and trying to be um amazing on my own. Why? I mean, if I can share my energy, if I can resonate it with you and off of you, you're gonna succeed and I'm gonna succeed. And I mean, that's what humanity is about. So perhaps I sound a little bit philosophical, but at this point, I really don't care. But yeah, essentially, what I mean to say is this. So coming back to our little subject here, a beautiful black queen cat known as Rani around here. So now that you notice that I laid in a sort of basic color of Van Dyke brown, then I marked out the lights. So I erased out the lights, for example. Now I'm going back in with Van Dyke brown, and I am now putting in the darkest parts of the painting. And this is going to help me to have already three values on my painting, which is going to be the darkest dark, kind of the lightest light, probably not the lightest, but at least we know that the light will be in that area. And we have the middle tone that we laid out in the beginning. So this form of painting is so wholesome, is so overall, is giving you such a big picture of the entire uh, piece that you work faster, you go much more broader, much more loose, much more confident. So allow yourself this, and let's see how this takes us forward. So here now I have a soft brush from Rosemary. I'll link it down below. And what am I doing here? You might wonder. So since I already have laid down my paint, I am now modeling the paint. Okay, with this brush, which is kind of a soft brush, it doesn't have very harsh bristles. I am now slowly going and connecting whatever I have laid down. So for example, the darkest dark, the gray tone that I put in there, and now I'm refining my shapes and also creating soft transitions where I feel where the subject is turning form, where there is some sort of softness in the face. So making sure that I am keeping it in a very controlled and slow manner. I am basically bridging the gaps at this point. Once I have all of that other information that is forming my face, I mean Rani's face, is when I decide to put in the eye. Okay, now I have the entire structure around the eye. So it's very easy for me to just place one dot, and I don't have to worry if it's in the right place or not, if it fits or not, because I have created the surrounding structure. Basically, that's how sculpting works. You don't directly start with the eye, you sculpt the face, you create the eye socket, you create whatever other surrounding muscles are, the anatomy that is connected to the eye, and then you go in and place your eye. It's the same thought process. Right now we're sculpting with paint, and that's what our goal should be. That's what we need to achieve with this medium of painting, and that's what my strive is. So I'm gonna stop here and take a little break, and I'm gonna continue the rest of this painting in the second part. So I hope you stay tuned, come back for the second part, and it's gonna be amazing. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you soon.